What is going on, family? How is everybody doing? If you missed it, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed it, you are free to call in right now. If you missed it, I had the number up as we were going in. Let me see if I put it up somewhere over here. No, I don't see it. But you are free. And if you don't know it, let me put this up. Look at here, got myself talking to myself. I am going to put it, it was right here. I thought I had it somewhere else, but if you missed it on the intro, there it is right now. Please write the number down. You can call in that number anytime you want to, because I want to hear from you. I always hear from myself. I always know what I think. So I'm just putting that number up there real quick, and I'm gonna try to, I thought I had it somewhere over here on the screen right there. Let me see. But I don't seem to see it. Let me see. I thought I had it. I thought I created another whole block for it. I don't see it. Let me just go through some of this stuff real quick. Don't look at it early. Fam, listen, I want to hear what y'all got to say about this, because this thing right here was something. We started off right here, as y'all know. You already know what we started at. Y'all already know what we started at now. We started at the beginning. I want to know, how do you feel? How does it feel? I mean, let me put it up here again though. Let me do something real quick. Because I could have sworn I put it up here. But let me just so it'll be here. So it'll be here throughout the show. Listen, fam. It was we didn't get anything as people, but I do believe now. I'm just telling y'all what I believe, and you can call in and tell me something different. I do believe we saw a different Kamala. Now, ain't nobody said nothing about better. Ain't nobody said nothing about worse. Let me put something in this little text box real quick. Ain't nobody said nothing about that. Y'all can tell me that. But I do believe something was different. I do believe. Oh, I'm gonna put text in without my little handy dandy. 760. Hold on 1 second, y'all. 7602. Is that a 2? 289. 289. 3370. 3370. Okay. And let's save that right there. Move that over there. Now let's get down to the nitty and the gritty. Let's get down to the nitty and the gritty, ladies and gentlemen. We started off, and if you need to write the number down, I'll come back to it throughout the show. Now that it's up there, we'll come back to it. But I want to just go hit some highs and lows real quick, family. Just a little highs and lows real quick. Nothing too drastic. And I'm gonna start going to anybody who's called. I'm gonna start going to calls really quick because, like I said, this is just a show. I'm gonna tell y'all what I think, but this is a show for y'all. But I'm gonna tell you what I think, right? I'm gonna tell you. So let's go back to the top. So y'all already saw my little top. Y'all already saw my little top view. So this is where it started. Now this was interesting. This handshake was interesting. It was interesting for me because Kamala Harris, she showed. Look, it was some confidence in there. I ain't really seen that. I have not really seen it look like that. It was some confidence in that, ladies and gentlemen. It was some confidence in that handshake. And she walked over to Trump. He didn't walk over to her. Now, from a purely strategic point of view, I believe that this started off the conversation in a different way. I believe that Trump viewed this as weakness as opposed to like her being kind, and that's not what it was. Everybody can say what they want, and in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna let everybody in here. So in about 10 minutes, I'm gonna let everybody in here to go. Anybody who want to talk, go for what they want, right? Now, I want to remind everybody though, before we even get to that, I don't want to remind everybody that we have a lot of third party candidates in here. So I'm not trying to tell you to vote for anybody. Y'all know I haven't made any kind of endorsement of anybody. So just keep that in mind. We got Dr. Carnell West. Y'all got Jill Stein. We got a lot of people out there. But when he said, we started off, that was a good move. Kamala walked over there, shake hands. I don't think Hillary Clinton shook hands with him. Right? And I got some on my shirt. But I don't think she shook hands with him. But she did. She walked over. She looked confident. Now, Trump got in some licks. He got in some licks. I'm not going to say he didn't. When he said she don't really have no policy, I wanted to send her a MAGA hat. He's talking about that tax credit, which was his before it was hers, and some other stuff. He's talking about that stuff, right? That's the kind of stuff that he is talking about. They should have delved into that a lot more. They should have gotten into domestic policy a lot more. I was saddened that did not happen. I was upset that we didn't get more into that. Why are we not talking about that? This seemed to just be a sort of, at a certain point, it seemed like a personality contest because she doesn't really have much policy. Trump pointed that out. I really wish the moderators had probed that. With that run, spot, run, there ain't really nothing over there. Right? I think we should have got into that. Right? That's just what I feel. That was a good line, and but there was no probing of that. That was a problem for me. I had a problem with the lack of probing. Now, let me just say this too. Abby Phillips said, just FYI, when there is asymmetrical lying, there will be asymmetrical fact checking. We're going to get to that because they used Now, this goes to Trump's part. They used the whole nobody's eating the dogs thing to say, they used that, right, to say that in Springfield, Ohio, that's just laughable. And there was a video going around and the people in Springfield laughing about it. However, there are police reports and different things that I will show that, remember Trump said they was eating animals, that show that has been a complaint. So if you're going to fact check, don't just tell me what the commissioner or guy or whatever from over there said. You also got to tell me what the people said. And they said that the pets and stuff, and they got police reports. I'm just saying that has to be a part of the conversation too. Right? That has to be a part of the conversation too. And I didn't see it. I'm just saying what I saw. Everybody can tell me what they saw. I'm just telling everybody what I saw. I didn't see any discussion of a black agenda. Forget reparations. I didn't see any kind of agenda. I didn't see nobody's agenda. You know, we have what they call them. I don't like it, but disadvantaged community. I didn't see much of that. I just saw some very general kind of conversations, some very general kinds of complaints. I did not see a lot of what I needed to see in terms of what's in it for me. I heard Kamala say we got to have something for everybody, all that kind of stuff. I did not. I heard Trump say, you took it from us and when we was there, and I didn't hear what I needed to hear. Right? I did not hear what I needed to hear. I heard people got mad. People got mad too. And I'm going to say this last part real quick and I'm going to let somebody come in. But people got really upset when I said, when they brought up identity and asked Trump what he thought about it. And Trump said, I don't care what she is. She is whatever she say she is. I don't care. He said, whatever she want to be, she can be whatever she want to be. I mean, maybe say, you can be a butterfly if you want to. I don't care. When that happened, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing Kamala did not say, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm black. So, twice, one in the interview that she did with CNN, and here, somebody has brought up that time she said, let's move on, right? This time she gave an all lives matter answer. Okay. If you are going to, listen, all you surrogates out there who are like, and I'm not saying what she is or what she's not, no, she's not ADOS. Stop telling us how black she is if Kamala won't say she's black herself. If Kamala will not say I'm a black woman, stop telling me that. She gave an all lives matter answer last night and said, we all got to come together. We got to just stop being divisive. Well, if that's what she says, if she gave, I want everybody to understand this. She gave a post-racial answer. If Kamala is giving a post-racial answer, don't talk to me about race. If she don't see herself as a quote-unquote black woman, stop telling me that she's a black woman. If she has been asked that question 2 times now, and she has given an all lives matter, kumbaya answer, do not tell me, but Yvette, she's black. By what right? No, I told y'all a long time ago to just treat her as a white candidate. That's all you have. Treat her as a white candidate and we'll all be fine. I know you need to go around talking about blackity, blackity, black. If she hasn't decided that she's blackity, blackity, black. We were omitted from the conversation. We were omitted from the whole black conversation. Well, we just got to move past all this divisiveness. And I got some other stuff to say, but I'm going to let one of the callers come in because I just want to make sure everybody gets the opportunity to kind of talk. 832, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
This is Mark calling from Houston.
Hey, what's going on, Mark?
Going pretty good. So I'm going to try to make it quick because I know your lines are probably blowing up. But obviously, overall, Kamala clearly won the debate. And just in all transparency, I'm voting for Trump. But that's because I'm a one-issue voter on immigration at this point at the federal level. And so I usually judge debates on style and substance. On style, I would give her like a B+, and him like a C-, maybe a D. But on substance, they were basically tied because she didn't have any. And she was, I'll be honest though, the one thing she did very well was she weaved in these personal digs that he bit on. So I would pick up on it. She would get a question. She'd be like, oh, so are we better off now than we were 3.5 years ago? Look, I grew up in a middle-class family, blah, 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 but he used to sleep with so-and-so. Like, she didn't exactly say that, but you know what I mean. She would go that big, crowd size, whatever. And then he would jump on that instead of calling her out and saying, notice she didn't answer that question because you're not better off than you were 3 years ago. And so he left a lot of meat on the table. But one thing I did pick up on, too, is she does not embrace being black. It's so funny.
No,
everyone else embraces it for her, but she never commits to it and doubles down on it and claims it. It's amazing to me. Like, that would have been a perfect way to hit Trump. It would have just been perfect for her. And she needs it because she is under 80% in the black vote. That is amazing. Biden did better than that.
And let me pause because I love my conversations with you. Let me say one thing. I disagree with what Obama did in terms of standing on that Selma Bridge and telling us it's his too. It's not his. But he did understand that I have to do something, right? I have to find a way to kind of align myself with the black vote because I'm going to need them when it comes time for election. Kamala, for me, seems to think that she might not need us enough to have to do that. That's a problem in terms of her polling. Now, the other thing I will say in terms of what you said, Trump kept taking the bait. I never seen somebody take the bait like that. Like, I saw his whole, and one thing I will say about Kamala's camp, it was obvious to me that they have watched the footage of how sensitive and prickly he is about certain things, and they decided to needle him. And I don't think he like, to your point, I don't think he expected that kind of needling from her in the terms of when she said, I've talked to world leaders and they find you embarrassing. Right? Like when I don't think he was ready for that to be, because he views Kamala, rightly or wrongly, we ain't talking about that. He views her as less than him. So to have somebody that is less than you come and talk to you like that, I think it threw him off his game the entire time. But go ahead, fam. I'm gonna let you go. But I just want to say that to what you were saying.
Oh no, you're 100% right. Like his ego is what kills him, right? Right before the fall. And he truly had no respect for her. You could see the way he talked about her at press conferences, calling her openly stupid. He never said that about Hillary because I think he respected Hillary.
He said he respected Hillary. He said she's smart. He said she's smart and we should not underestimate her. That's what he said about Hillary.
Exactly. And so one thing I've noticed about Trump, when he doesn't respect somebody, he doesn't take you seriously. And so he didn't prepare. Supposedly his debate prep was sitting down and having a conversation with Matt Gaetz or somebody like that. Like, come on. Like that's not debate prep.
That's not preparation.
Her, so him in the ass. Yeah. And so the last thing I'll say is on debates themselves, I just find it amazing that in America, debates still matter because you should at this point have a worldview and a political acumen to where you can already see how a candidate lines up in terms of their donors, who they're catering to in their platform, who they align with, who endorses them. You should be able to make a decision based on that. Somebody putting on a show in a debate, convincing you based on a performance, you cannot articulate a policy in 2 minutes fully and flesh it out.
That's what we do. That's what we disagree, though, fam. I like a nice debate. I like a nice debate because to me, debates reveal so much about not just the policy but the person, right? Like you can have so much up on your page, right? But if you can't defend it person to person, it kind of lets me know that you might be a fraud too. Like if you got all this stuff up and I ask you and you say you passionate about it, and then I ask you about it and you can't quite articulate it, it lets me know that you are a fork-tongued liar. You probably don't care about it. You probably don't believe in it. You are so I like debates. I think they should mandate that you have to have at least 3 debates. That should be that should be mandated. Get up there and fight. Get up there and fight for my vote. I like a debate in the public sphere, in the public arena. I love it. I don't even like the fact they're talking about we might just have 1 debate. How? Y'all should have 5. I love it. I
do like watching them. But I think what it leaves some people susceptible to is who may not actually have a political, worldview or a good worldview or established. They may see somebody put on a good performance and they're like, oh, okay, that looked good. Even though that may not be what's best for them. Like Obama, I believe Obama was one of the greatest politicians I've ever seen in my life.
I do too.
He he could sell fish to water, or he could sell water to fish, and that doesn't mean that he was probably better than the Republicans, obviously, but that doesn't mean he was a great option.
But hold on, fam. Let me ask you. Hold on, fam. Pause right there, though. Isn't that a problem with the electorate, though? Like, isn't part of our problem, like, as an electorate, is that we're anti-intellectual? And I'm not just talking about white folk here. And so we can't look beyond the rhetoric. We can't look to, like, your history and your policy and specific in the in-between. And we can't see what a politician is not saying. Like, a politician may be saying one thing, but we can never look through and say, what is missing? What are they not saying? And I think that, yeah, he wasn't a great option. Like, but I think that's something about what we don't see. Like, even now with Kamala, what we're not seeing. Like, you see on that stage, she didn't say I'm black, she said I'm post-racial. That's basically what she said. We got to get beyond all this black. Well, Barack Obama told us the same thing. He said there's no red America and no blue America, there's one America. You're a lie, and your whole presidency showed it, and we're living the consequence of it. So I think part of the biggest issue is that we live in a country, too, where people just don't really, most of us don't read anymore. I'm not talking about ADOS. We have book clubs, we do all that stuff. But we even see it in the advocacy of ADOS in terms of some people who rise to the top who don't know anything about politics, never read anything, and some people say, I want that person as my leader. I think that becomes a problem. Even the reporters, I feel like a lot of these reporters don't know what they're talking about when they're asking these questions.
I agree. Speaking of anti-intellectualism, you'll have a guy advocating for reparations one minute, and now he's doing a space on Shannon Sharp's sex video or sex IG thing.
Oh my!
Like, we gotta break a lane. No, I'm just.
That's
you know
crazy.
What I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say. The name,
yeah, don't say no name.
You know,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say the name. But you know what I'm talking about. Like, it is unserious. And you appoint a leader like that, you're not taken seriously, and it hurts the movement. So I don't blame you for not, associating with that or trying to connect with that. But the last thing I will say about reparations, if she was smart, and see, this is what happens when you have bad advisors around you or advisors who aren't really, I would say, connected to the community. If she came out and all she had to do was say, if a reparations bill comes across my desk, I'll sign it. She ain't got to, lead the charge. She ain't got to say she'll push for it. If she said that would cure her issue with the black vote, I think, enough. And she wouldn't lose a single white vote because she's already getting destroyed in the white vote.
Well,
you
even if she
lose it any worse than you're losing it.
Fam, I agree with you. Even if she said if there's a study, right? If a reparations study, she could just say a study. And I think a lot of people, I wouldn't, but I think a lot of people would say, okay, that's good enough for me. Like she said, I'm post-racial. We've had enough of this race stuff. We've had enough of all of this. Can't we just move? And that's not an answer. Since when is that an answer? But we let Obama do that too. Well, he's not going to say, but he did. He was a much better politician. He had a Jeremiah Wright speech where he talked about Jeremiah and he talked about his grandparents, and he connected those two. Like people forget how sophisticated he was in terms of that. Now, there was still some stuff we just should have left Obama at one term, because I feel like he did enough to kind of make us think he was going to do something. And then when he didn't try to do it, we should just say, well, we this is where we park, But but I do believe that part of the problem is not the politicians at this point; it's the electorate. We don't know enough to know, like, this isn't good enough. This person isn't promising enough. They're not doing enough for what we need in terms of who we are. And so I think that's part of the problem too.
Well, she cited support from Goldman Sachs and Dick Cheney. Imagine that. In the year 2024, a Democratic so-called progressive candidate cites support from Goldman Sachs and Dick Cheney.
You want to know the irony of that?
I was shocked.
Oh, I was shocked too. But you want to know the irony of that, fam? And I'll keep interrupting you, but I just love the points that you bring up. One of the ironies of that is Democrats wanted to try Dick Cheney and Bush as war criminals. First of all, the second big, and I don't know if people, do y'all not remember that? The second big thing is, like, I'm one of the people. I was on Capitol Hill in 2000. I'm one of the people who do believe that election was stolen. Like that was the stop the steal when Roger Stone and them was going to different precincts and kind of threatening and doing stuff to make people stop recounting. That was the first, like, we should have had our own stop the steal. So the man who came in under that administration, you're happy for his, and I'm not gonna get into how he shot his friend and said he was just duck hunting. I think you meant to shoot that man. I've always said that Dick Cheney meant to hit that man with them pellets. So I'll let you finish up, friend.
No, I mean it's just so crazy. Like like just like you said, I thought Dick Cheney was like the ultimate evil in politics, and now we're embracing support. Like, it's insane. It just shows how, love him or hate him, Trump has changed politics a little bit,
yeah,
for better or for worse, and the alignment. Now, once he's gone, I feel like it's going to go back to kind of the establishment on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just interesting to see.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'll let it slide there.
All right, appreciate it, fam. Appreciate it. Yeah, Dick Cheney, like they used to say he was like Darth Vader, and now he all of a sudden child. Anyway, and Kamala always looked him in the eye, like he didn't want to look at her, but she always looked at him. She made eye contact. She turned her whole body. She, what you saying? What you want? Anyways, let me just go. 617, what's going on?
Hey, Yvette, it's Reggie from Boston. How
Speak
you doing?
pretty good, Ray. Speak up a little bit for me.
How's this? Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yeah. Now this debate now, as someone who just enjoys, I guess, the sport of politics, the process of the debates, I loved it last night. Like, oh my God, I loved it. I loved it just because of the way that Kamala just mopped the floor with this man. And it was so entertaining, and I'll be honest, I don't think that Trump has had anyone speak to him like that in his face. Like, somebody will say it over the TV or say something in Twitter or statements, but I don't think anybody has ever talked to him like that.
What do you think he expected it? Do you think he expected it? I don't. But do you think he expected to be talked to like that?
I don't think he expected it, or let me say it this way: I don't think he was smart enough to expect it, because she really knocked him off balance. Now, at first, I was very frustrated because Kamala was doing what she always does, talking from some tired script, some tired talking points. But halfway through this debate, I saw her face change, like there was an aha moment. And she was like, this guy's burying himself. I'm just going to let him talk and wait for an opening, and then I'm going to just hammer him. And I feel like she did that the way that she talked to him, to where it just wasn't a script. She wasn't talking what she was fed. She was saying, this is what I know about you. You know, because understand that she's in the White House. She gets the same briefing. She's in the same rooms. She hears from the Secretary of State what the world leaders, what other people in administration and government have to say about Trump gets back to her. So she ran him down like, no, I know this about you. This is what they actually said about you.
Yeah, behind your back. And then he mentioned Orban. Like, that's who you mentioned?
Yeah, just the way that she drilled him. And I think she kind of got very strategic. A lot of people were complaining about Kamala didn't have enough time, which is true if you add up, you know, how many minutes and seconds Trump got versus Kamala. But I think Kamala was like, yeah, you know what? Go on and dig that hole, Trump. I'm going to come back and get you later. And she just mopped the floor with him. It was just beautiful.
Strategically, Reggie, I absolutely agree with you, because what she realized is that this is a person who's easily triggered. And so I'm just going to keep throwing I'm going to keep throwing chum at the shark. Like when she said that stuff about people are leaving your rallies because they're bored and you're not talking to their needs and they're sick of you, and you're talking about Hannibal Lecter. Like I think I have the screenshot where his eyes went up. Like, Who is she to say this to me? I gotta find it. Like he was not expecting her to. That was him right there, that moment where he said, and she realized the rally stuff is important to him. So let me dig in on that. And what he shouldn't have done, he should have just ignored it and started talking about something else. Like, but he can't do that.
Yeah, she went straight for his ego just with facts to say, like, look, in the eyes of these crowds, you're nothing. In the eyes of these world leaders, you're nothing. And it wasn't even a debate. It was just address him down like, you're nothing. And just physically speaking, in terms of physicality, Trump towers over her, like in terms of height. But she would not be able to tell that by this debate. Like she just, like,
yeah, it didn't feel like it. Didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like she was shorter than him. It didn't feel like it at all.
Here's the thing, though, Yvette. Again, Kamala was waiting for the opening. I don't think it was as much as her winning as Trump losing. I still believe that if you put, like if you get like a Governor Abbott or someone like that, or when Giuliani was still had his marbles, if you have like a capable Republican politician, I don't think she survives.
Well, yeah, I think if you have somebody who knows policy, who knows their stuff, and who knows where she lacks and can drill down in that instead of taking the bait, and even, let me just say this too, Reggie, his punches didn't land. I don't know anybody who believes that Kamala Harris is a Marxist. Not one person. Like, I actually believe that Kamala Harris is further to the right than she lets on, and that's part of why she's out of step, is because she's tried to be in step so much with the AOCs and the people to the left, and it doesn't fit her because that's not who she is. You're not going to win anybody trying to convince them that just because her father is a Marxist or whatever, that she's a Marxist. That doesn't land for people. The top cop as a Marxist does not land in terms of, like, that don't land for people. But I'm gonna let you finish up, Rich.
It didn't land for me either. But where I started to get frustrated, this is me going from political junkie to citizen to Black American who descends from slavery. I got very frustrated when the race question came up, about Kamala, because I feel like, I guess sort of as political junkie and citizen, I feel like she had a wonderful opportunity to just double down, to say, look, I am a proud Black and Indian woman, and she could have went right back to kneeling him and say, I'm sorry that a diverse America, that out of many one, I'm sorry that bothers you and goes over your head. If she would have drilled down like that, I feel like she would have fired up the base. Like, I feel like all the non-white women in the room just would have, like, the
she could have.
shows would have been on fire the next day, like Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross.
Like, she didn't give the people who ride. She didn't give the people who really ride with her something to take home. Like, let me just say this too, even in terms of the Palestinian-Israel conflict. Like, I think after this showing, I don't know how she wins them. Like, I don't know how she, I'm talking about the Palestinians and then the people who side in Michigan and different places. Like, after that, speech, but they need dignity, but we're sending a weapon. I don't know how that fits into what she's trying to, how that drives home. I don't get it. I don't get what she's talking about. But I'm gonna let you go, Reg. You got a last word for us?
Yeah. And there was no, she didn't give any red meat, to her base. And just one more thing on the Black identity thing. It's like, just from an experiential standpoint, it just, in conversations, I don't know any Black woman, like, all things being equal, I don't know any Black woman from anywhere in the part of the world to where you question whether or not she's Black to her face and you don't get some kind of reaction. Like, look, you could have a multiracial woman with 3 white parents, a biracial,
she said 3.
Biracial parent, and 1 Black grandparent, and that woman will anchor herself in that Black grandparent and argue you down.
I got you.
I feel like Kamala's just kind of disconnected from that whole dynamic. That's just my
Well, yeah,
opinion.
I think she only went to Howard for 4 years, and the rest of her life has been not anchored to that dynamic, right? And we don't know how much she stayed in touch with that dynamic. So I do feel like that she lost that, and I do feel like she feels like I don't need to win that. Y'all gonna vote for me anyway, and that just goes back to taking our vote for granted, and that just is what it is. That's just always been the case. So that's why I always remind people there are 3 other candidates. There are more than 3, but there are multiple third-party candidates. You don't have to. We got options. We got options, y'all. That's all I'm saying. But I'm gonna let you go, Reggie. I'm gonna try to get some more people in his wild. But last word.
One more thing, just as a citizen, as a black man, I really felt invisible because the way that they spoke about families or entrepreneurs and the language that they used around that, I didn't see myself in the conversation.
No, we weren't in the conversation at all. Like, no, like, and thank.
Not at all.
No, appreciate you, Reggie. We weren't in the conversation at all. Like, and I appreciate you. I'm gonna go to the next call in 1 second, but let me just say something. Somebody says, "Why are we simping for Kamala?" Let me say something to y'all. To me, this is just about how the debate went, the strategy. I don't think this goes into who anybody is voting for tomorrow. I don't think strategically Trump did as good a job as he could have done last night. Now, I feel like a lot of that had to do with the moderators. I feel like they were checking certain things like the animals and the pets and stuff like that. I think you cannot say that like, no, that's a lie. No. And let me tell you something else that didn't go Trump's way that was problematic. They gave a quote by him and they said, and Trump said, I was being sarcastic. And David Muir said, didn't sound sarcastic to me. We are not there to check sarcasm and moods. We are there to fact check. You cannot tell the man whether or not he was being sarcastic or not. Like, I do believe there were problems that were impediments for Trump. And I do believe that the 2 moderators lean liberal, but how Trump managed that was problematic, and how he managed Kamala and what his expectations were for her were problematic. He didn't expect her to come out the gate that aggressive. And I think that was a problem for him. That's not caping for anybody. Everybody got to stop that. And if you have a problem, call in. If you're feeling froggy, then jump. 219-219, wait your name, where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, 219, what's going on?
Oh, how you doing? This is James.
Hey, James. Speak up just a little bit for me.
I think the debate was kind of a tie, but everyone gives the edge to VP Harris because she was more presidential. And most of the articles are saying that. But people are more sophisticated today than they were in 2016 or 2020.
That's true.
Not just among Adolf, but among the independents. Because the New York Times put out an article. We know that's a liberal paper. And the independents, the polling, or at least some of the samples they got right now, I'm quite sure they're still doing polls, but the independents weren't swayed.
No.
By neither.
No.
And the thing about it is that it goes back to saying, hey, we know this man, because even the New York Times said 90% of the people know who Trump is.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't expect nothing different. Everything in that debate was not new to them.
Nope.
So it's not like, oh, he's a bad guy. That's who he is. They said that's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that it didn't really sway in the independent.
Well, I don't. Let me pause you right there. I don't think it. I think they were all trying to win independence. Like you say, it might not have swayed none of them. And let me just say, I think part of what, because I thought it was a tie up until the end. Up until she said this stuff about the crowds and he took the bait. I was like, this is a tie. I don't see a winner here. But I also think Kamala's never debated. Like you said, we know Trump. We know how he debates. We know what that looks like. And I think a lot of people had kind of given Kamala's campaign. It hasn't been a good campaign. It's been short. It ain't been great. We ain't got a lot of policy. We ain't got but one interview. I think we had low expectations too, right? In terms of how this was going to go with her, because she has not exceeded our expectations in anything. I'm just going to be honest. But I'm going to let you go, fam.
Well, another thing that they talked about in the article was they interviewed one lady, and she was talking about how she's only leaning towards Trump because she feels like Trump has facts while VP Harris has a vision. So that's the problem. She is still tied to Biden's record. Because they have 3.5 years to look at Biden Harris, and they have Trump 4 years. They know that his first 2.5 years, and then after that, you had COVID. Everybody, not complaining, understands that situation. But we talking about inflation, the economy, bad immigration policy. Those are facts. So she just ignored all that. But the people but the independents are not ignoring it. And another key thing that people may forget too, these endless wars. The worst thing could have happened to her is Dick Cheney endorsing her. I mean, come on. People don't want these endless wars. He was involved in one of the longest wars forever. Yes, we needed to. Yes, 9/11 was bad. And that's, today is 9/11. And yes, they responded. And people wanted a response. Whether we was right or wrong. They wanted somebody to pay. Be it Afghanistan, Iraq, whatever. Americans wanted blood. Okay? But then it went on for 20 years. So for the war, when Trump talked about his negotiation skills, he made some good points that I don't want to say smart people or whatever, but people who really paid attention. When he said Russia didn't attack Ukraine because he did sanctions on that Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is a huge moneymaker for Russia. It's almost like they're sending oil or gas to Europe, and Europe is paying them, and they're using that money to fund their war. And then the U.S. is funding Ukraine to fund them against. It's kind of weird. It's a whole backwards thing. But he's right. He did put sanctions on that Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and that was a huge leverage of negotiation with Russia because they need that money from Western Europe, to fund not only their economy, but their government, their military. He was right about that. Versus us shutting down our Keystone pipeline. That's a whole nother story. I don't want to get into that.
But let me just say this. Let me just pause for a second. That's where he was right, though. I think that's where Trump made a very good point. Trump said we can't have no World War III. Then they said, well, what side are you on? And he said, this just got to end. We just got to have some kind of negotiation when this is over. I agree with that. Because when all that money that goes over there is not used to help our people. And we have mercenaries and different people who like these adventures abroad because it makes a bunch of people rich. It makes a bunch of companies rich, but it doesn't do anything for us. I will say another point that I feel like Trump scored is that he said, Kamala tried to say, I went over there and told him what Russia was doing. And Trump said, no, you went over there and you were supposed to stop the war from happening. And 3 days later, Russia invaded. And I do believe he won that point, but go on, Farrah.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. And it's almost like that they want the war to happen because we've already spent $250 billion out of our pocket. Europe has even spent $150 billion, which is crazy because they're funding both wars. So they're giving money to Russia for oil because they need it, oil and gas, and they're giving money to Ukraine. It's just, the whole thing is just like something like you said, mercenaries, companies, somebody's getting rich.
Absolutely, fam. Absolutely.
And, but another thing, and I land my plane here, and it's kind of the same thing with Israel too. I mean, it's not about taking sides so much on that, but when Trump said he was getting the conflict with Israel, I mean, Trump knows he owns if he became president, he owns the purse string to Israel. Not that he would support Israel, because I'm quite sure he would, but he would try to end it quickly. You know what I'm saying?
But to whose detriment? But I hear you.
But it's probably more complicated than that because I don't know enough about it. I'm no expert, but the only leverage that Trump has as president is money.
Yeah, he understands. Yeah,
money to everybody.
I agree.
And the final thing, but I close land right here. But the number one comment to me that he made, and I'm not saying that Kamala did a good job poking him, no doubt about that. And Trump don't take the bait. He can't help himself.
Can't help himself.
But we expected that anyway.
I didn't expect it that bad. Jesus.
And but he was right from his comment. He said, why don't you go over at 4 a.m. and wake up Biden and y'all sign a the border and close the border? Y'all can do that. You know that, right? I
actually hated that. I thought it was.
I think people missed that.
I hated it though. I hated it because I feel like Biden's out of the way now. Why everybody keep making anti-elderly comments about him? Trump, do you sleep till 4 o'clock? Like, I think some of this stuff does at a certain point become ageism, and it's kind of disgusting to me. But I appreciate it, fam. I'm gonna go to the next caller, but I appreciate it. And you have a good points made, caller. I appreciate it. You have a good one. And I do think that should happen in terms of listen. Part of the thing with the, I feel like part of the thing with the chickens and all that stuff and who's eating the chickens and killing the geese or whatever, the pets or whatever. No, we have actual reports of people saying that. But I feel like that's what the moderators missed too. Let's go further. Like, is it okay to have a community of 100,000, 60,000, whatever, have to deal with 20,000 new immigrants? Is that okay? Like, the moderators again didn't push that, right? They didn't push and Trump kept trying, to his credit, Trump kept trying to bring up the immigration issue, and they kept shutting it down, saying this stuff is weird and it's lies. And Kamala was just giggling. It's just like, this is not funny. Like, people are saying this. Trump makes up some stuff, but he's not making this up. This is just truth. Anyway, I'm going to 248. 248, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's going on? My name's Al. I'm from Michigan. How you doing?
Pretty good, Darryl. What's going on? What's up with you?
I'm doing good. I'm just listening to the people. Like most people said, I mean, he took the bait. Even when it came to the Central Park 5, my question to her was, why didn't she ask him and say, why haven't you apologized for putting that ad out? I would love it. If you're going to poke the bear, poke the bear. I really wanted to see his response on, a lot of people made some real good comments tonight about the debate. Yeah, I do think America is spending too much money. But I got a question for you, Yvette.
Go ahead.
What is the executive order that Biden signed talking about they limit the many people who come in for amnesty through the border? What's your take on that executive order?
I just don't think. Listen, I don't think any of that is enough, right? Like, somebody put up a post that said we have more illegal immigrants in this country than we have Irish immigrants, or than the Irish immigrants who came over and the Italian immigrants that came over combined. So, like, all of this piecemeal stuff is. I believe it. Yeah, because every year they say we got 11 million immigrants in the shadows, and it's you can't tell me it's just 11 million. It ain't. So so the number is nobody's ever really asked Americans, like, we never get asked how many people can we absorb in a community. And we should be allowed to ask that question. And every time you bring up immigration in any kind of way, we're all just told we're xenophobic. And that's not the case. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about displacement. We're talking about a lot of things and a lot of conversations that people just don't want to have.
The only reason why I ask that is because, I live in Detroit, so I'm up next to the Canadian border. You'll be surprised how many people overstay their visa coming from Canada into America from different countries. That's the reason why we have a lot of Indian Americans who come from Canada. They go to Canada first and then come over here. We got a lot of people who go to Canada first and then come from that side of the border. So I would believe you. Yeah, the reason why I'm saying that, I never hear nobody talk about that. I'm like, not talking about the southern border, but man, Michigan, if you were here, you would shake your head on how stuff is running. My question is, they didn't talk about poor people enough in that debate day. And I don't know if you saw what Nina Turner said earlier today on I think they posted on her social media outlet. I've never heard I always hear middle class. And I told my mom, yeah, it's cool about the middle class. But the people that Kamala Harris really needs is poor people to come out. Because Trump's base is going to come out. But if you can't inspire anybody to come on out, nobody's going to vote for you. Well, and personally, let me just say this real quick. And shout out to Nina Turner. I'm looking forward to seeing her in October at the ADOS Summit in New Orleans. So if y'all haven't got your tickets to go there, go get them. I'm looking forward to her conversation. She's always fire. Let me say this, though, too. The Democrats have given up on poor people a long time ago. And I think that's what Nina Turner is speaking to. Like, they've been stopped. It's all about the middle class. And sometimes they'll slip up and say people who want to make it to the middle class, but they will never say poor. They've been gave up on poor people. And that's what Nina Turner is pointing out. They've been stopped caring about y'all. Everything is about the middle class. And when I say y'all, I mean this community.
Like this ADOS community, all of us. Like when you talk about somebody who's making $15,000, $20,000, when you talk about even a white person from Appalachia, right? They ain't thought like they like y'all ain't. I'm just worried about middle class. They always have started. Like I see that as starting with Clinton, honestly. Like where you just it's all about the middle class. We're gonna chase this white working class vote, but everything is about the middle class. That's how I see it.
But I got another question before I get off. Democrats have not got a share of the majority of the white vote since what was it? When I want to say it probably was it might have been Lyndon Baines Johnson. So why did they go after why does the Democratic Party go after a segment of people who gave up on them so many years ago? I'm just trying to.
They ain't got nowhere else to go. They ain't got nowhere else to go because you go over to the right, you go over to Republicans and they in bed with business, right? And that's why so many poor whites have come back over to Trump, right? It's because he is saying, hey, at least I'll get your immigrant competition out of here or whatever, right? And so they're trying to disrupt because what they see happening. And I know it's a lot of racists over there with Trump. You ain't got to tell me. But it's also some people who say, listen, the Republican establishment is not helping me. I got to do something. I see everything is wrong. I got to figure out something. I got to just destroy the whole thing and start over again. I think that's what some of them are doing. The problem is that happens to us with the right a lot of times. It's just so much racism. Like when you say, hey, what about reparations? They call you everything but a dirty dog. They call you all kind of racist names and stuff. So it's just, I think a lot of people view themselves as stuck. But so that's my view.
I'm about to get on out of it. Thank you for the time. You have a blessed.
I appreciate you, fam. Good commentary. Appreciate you so much. I'm going to the next caller. Going to, y'all got some good comments, some real good comments tonight. I want that. Go 814. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? What's up, 814? Hey.
How you doing? I'm Twist calling from Philadelphia.
What's up, Twist? What's going on with you?
Pretty good. Two things I want to say. Basically, Trump has never been a candidate anyway. Before he was president, he never really held an office before, so anybody beating him in a debate is kind of easy. A bad candidate should be a bad actual somebody that does it should be able to beat him. That's one of the reasons why I think he lost his mind when Biden couldn't beat him the last time. He's a low-hanging fruit. He should be easy for anybody who's serious candidate should be able to beat. The second thing I wanted to say is I think ADOS and you and your movement is one of the reasons why she's scared to say that she's black. I think everything that you've done, everything that's been on the internet, even you're saying that we should be looking at her as an Indian or a white woman politician, she may not even be people of color. If she's Irish and Indian and Caucasian, she may not even be able to represent herself as people of color. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but we've had those kind of conversations. You and Antonio and your work is part of the reason why I think she's afraid to even have those kind of conversations. Because now, when she starts talking about it, now she's got to start talking to you.
Well, you know what? And you know what I would say, fam, about that? Like, part of the thing that, during her first campaign, she announced on MLK Day. Right. And that becomes my problem. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to call yourself, like, you can say, hey, if you want to say your father's Afro Jamaican and you are quote unquote black, my thing is that you're not American black. I don't gatekeep just global blackness. That's whatever you want to be. But my problem is that people keep coming to me and saying she's black. Hey, this woman just basically said she's post-race. She didn't even say I'm a woman of color or that stuff. So like, just focus on the policies and leave me out of that. But I'm gonna let you keep going, friend. I'm sorry.
I don't think she has anything. She's afraid to do that now. Like if she comes out and says that she's black, I'm looking forward to her saying people of color. I'm looking forward to her making that switch. I don't know why she didn't do it during the debate, but I've been posting stuff because I'm waiting for her to say something about that. She's afraid. If she has that conversation, now she's got to open up and talk to.
Well, now she's got to speak to a black agenda, right? You said you black. What's the black agenda?
Exactly. And who's the first one to start talking about that? Who's the first group to start pushing it, having that conversation?
Us?
You and Antonio and everybody that's got it. Yes.
I agree with
that's
you.
all I wanted to say. Thank you.
No, appreciate you.
For your work and waiting for your silly chapter to grow up.
Hey, it's coming. Everything's...
when that happens.
Absolutely. We'll definitely announce it. I appreciate you, fam. Great commentary. Appreciate you. I'm going to my next caller. I'm going to 510. 510. What's your name? Where you calling from? What is on your mind?
Hello, Yvette. This is Jonathan. I'm calling from Richmond, California, Bay Area. I want to thank you, first of all, you and Tone Talks and everybody associated with you guys for the great work that you've done to establish, clarify, and put out there in the world this concept of ADOS. So it's my first time calling.
Oh,
and,
welcome.
Really thankful for you. But I hate that it's under these circumstances because I've been watching this since the 70s. You know, I was a kid under Carter, so I've been paying real close attention from Reagan on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone from bad to worse. Like you say, the Overton window has slipped to the right to where, we're happy for Cheney endorsement. It's like, this is ridiculous. So we were captured in a duopoly with all these different things, different legislation and rulings such as the Citizens United Supreme Court ruling in 2010, which equated money in free speech and basically made it legal bribery. So I'm saying in the genocide era presidential campaign, where we're clearly under a duopoly, good cop, bad cop, never would have ever dreamed of voting for Republican, but now I can't vote for Democrats either. So it's like, now that I see that they're this far gone, I'm trying to figure out, I can't get caught up in the minutia of these, paid people trying to get in here for a few years and pretend like they're doing something. How do we get to some real pulling this thing back to ever have a chance for reparations and the rest of the stuff? Getting at, how do you feel about some of these other parties? Are you going to eventually be forced to endorse Claudia de la Cruz and the Socialist and Party of Liberation or whatever it's called? They sound really good. Plus the Green Party are also pro-reparations, anti-genocide. It's like, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that. And again,
well, listen, what I would like to see, and we are trying to, and we work behind the scenes to try to extend invites to everybody. So I would like to see somebody show up to the conference and speak to us and take us seriously. Right? Like, if you want me to take you seriously, I need you to take me seriously. It's just that much. And, so when we have something and we invite you up or out, sit down and talk to us. Come have a conversation with me. That to me signals that you're taking us seriously. And we send those invites out all the time. So if you want me to take you seriously, I need you to take me seriously. I'm gonna let you go, fam, only because, and I appreciate you. It was a great call. I'm just trying to get through. The lines are full. So I'm just trying to run through everybody. It was a great call, but I'm just trying to run through everybody's on the line. The line is thick. So 347, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
New York, Daniel. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing? What the ladies at? Has ladies been in here tonight? What's up, fam?
Yeah, it's real late over here. All right. Well, who won is Trump won, but it was kind of like 2-3 points. I know in his mind it didn't even feel like he won. And when you see the tape, it's like you won, but it was ugly. Real ugly.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you probably you don't remember that tennis player, Brad Gilbert, from over there. He
wrote a book, Winning Ugly, and that's basically what that debate was.
Yeah, could have been ugly, but
Because he was disciplined, but when you say why wasn't he looking at her, look, he was told, don't look at her, don't do those faces. He already knew she was going to be provoking him all night long, but he had to say really outrageous things for him to get off discipline. With the abortion question, he didn't go for it until she said, oh, he's not for, what is it, a fertilization?
yeah, in vitro, yeah, IVF.
And it's like, and you hear that, you're like, well, wait a minute, I funded his fertilization.
Yeah, because he had come out and said that, yeah.
Kind of things that got him, it didn't get him off balance, but that's when he didn't control it anymore.
Yeah, but let me say something. Isn't your opponent always gonna lie and mischaracterize you? Isn't that normal? Like, all my life has been normal. Like, and I'm not saying it's right, because he came out and said like, I'm in favor of IVF and all that stuff a while ago. So I'm sure she knew that, right? Even and just like Trump lied too and said everybody was in favor of giving abortion back to the states, Democrats, everybody. No, that's not true. Right, and she made a good point. The abortion point was a good point for her. She scored a point there too, because she said she really got fired up of women bleeding in the car, and nobody wanted that. She made a good point. But I'm just saying though, shouldn't you expect somebody to try to like mislead and mischaracterize you in a debate? Like, this is a high stakes thing, right?
Well, yeah, but you see a lot of the stuff in the tapes. He's like, yeah, I heard that one before. That's the one. It had to be just stuff like, so, the debate thing is like, what? It's like something, he's like, I didn't see nobody in my debates. I got to be up here for like an hour and 90 minutes and no one leaves, but
yeah, well,
she had to come with stuff that even he's like, it's not that you're Beetle, it's like, huh? If you saw the movie Nixon is like, oh, yeah, obstruction of Congress, then they say, well, Bobby Cambodia. You're like, Bobby Cambodia? I can bob whoever I want. So,
yeah, I get what you're saying, fam. I get what you're saying, fam.
He had to spend time pulling the debate back to everything from back to immigration and the economy. I think he already figured out the whole thing was
but that's not
keep him off of those.
Yeah, and he figured it out, but you can't and I thank you, fam. I'm gonna answer you off air, but I just gotta move on to some people. But I appreciate your call, fam. I appreciate it. I gotta move on. But you can't do that though. Like, that's my only thing. Even if oh my goodness, these people are messing up. The moderators are doing the thing. This is not right. And that's the problem with having a multimillionaire or whatever as the candidate, because they're so used to just being like, whatever. I ain't even got it. What? Like, no, it's like you have to stay in the game. You have to stay in the fight. You have to stay disciplined. And I don't know if somebody's always used to being in the room and being in control of that room if they can do that. So y'all, try to keep it going now. Try to keep your calls a little bit short. Try to know when you're gonna land, because we have, like I said, the calls is fired up about last night. So let's just try to be respectful so we can get as many people in as humanly possible. 216, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Yvette?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
All right. I'm speaking to the world famous great Yvette. Yvette, I'll be very short. This
okay.
is D-Thought coming from Cleveland. And Yvette, you are absolutely correct. And what I want to do real quickly, because I actually teach rhetoric, I want to just give us a little frame of reference in terms of the debate. I think what is happening we have individuals who cannot separate policy from the performance. So the rhetorical policies, we can all be in agreement here as a family. I don't support VP Harris, not going to vote for her. But let's just talk a little bit about her rhetorical performance in the debate.
Okay.
Now, Yvette, you put a picture up in, if you could go back to that picture, Yvette, you had a picture where you had her shaking the hand of Trump. If you just put that up, Yvette, I just want to just
I don't even know what I
with that picture that you had.
Okay.
Because it's 1,000 words in that picture.
It's up.
Oh, okay. So Yvette, you were absolutely correct. You said that she set the tone. I knew from teaching rhetoric that Harris was going to wipe the floor with Donald Trump, and that's what she did. 93% of communication is nonverbal. So if you look at this nonverbal here, you can see that confidence, and Trump is kind of like offshook. It reminded me, being from Cleveland, of the heavyweight boxer Buster Douglas and the shot that he did with Tyson. So when Trump was going to come in rhetorically, he was going to use this rhetorical strategy that people call a red herring, where you pull erroneous information and those things to try to distract your opponent. But one thing we have to understand why VP Harris was so prepared for this is that we have to go back to the founding of rhetoric in Western thought. Rhetoric has this history 350 BC, and it was where the Greeks used rhetoric to establish implementing those things. We know Socrates went around and he questioned virtues, but you had these other philosophers. They were known as the sophists. Those were people like Protagoras. Those were people like Gorgias. And what these sophists did, they went around and they trained, in particular, students, and these students were law students. It's no accident that VP Harris is a lawyer, Bill Clinton is a lawyer, Barack Obama is a lawyer. So these sophists, they train these would-be lawyers to become senators and to become statesmen, as they called it. Now, this is what Kamala Harris did to Trump, and she dissected him. Trump came in, and it's only 4 types of rhetoric style speaking. One is memorized, that's where you speak from your memory. The other one is manuscript, that's where you speak from a script that could not have a script. And one is impromptu, improvising, like making it up as you go. And the fourth one is the extemporaneous. So Trump comes in with this improvisation. He's used to this because it works at rallies. This is what is called epidemic rhetoric. This is where you use for ceremonies and those kind of things, and you feed off of an audience. What he underestimated Harris is that Harris was trained in what we call forensic rhetoric. That's what lawyers and those people are trained in, where they are able to take rhetoric and they are able to do statements and those different types of things. So she was able to throw Trump off of his game based on her teachings and those different types of things. Last thing I want to say, Yvette, thank you for allowing me to share. We keep saying that President Barack Obama was like a great politician and those things. He was a great politician, but I would argue that he was not a great rhetorician. A great rhetorician is someone like Dr. King, and it really makes me upset when I see him on pictures or these T-shirts with Dr. King. And let me explain why.
Okay, you got 1 minute to explain that, fam. You got 1 minute to explain that. 1 minute.
He's not, he's not like a Dr. King. There's a thing called ethos. That's your ethics. That's when you speak on something and you live by those meanings. Barack Obama is what Plato saw as trickery with rhetoric, using rhetoric to trick and using rhetoric to deceive, versus Dr. King using rhetoric to find a higher self. Thank you, Yvette.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That was good. That was good. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you, fam. Yeah. Yeah, I hate to see Barack on that thing too with Dr. King. I hate to see it. Going to everybody in the queue. Try to keep your comments to 2 minutes. Just trying to make sure we get everybody. 862. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Yvette. Jonathan Edwards from Asheboro, North Carolina.
What's up? What's going on with you?
Nothing much. I haven't heard from you in a while. Trying to battle this a little bit of a cold. Watched that train wreck of a debate last.
Were you not entertained? I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing. If you have been alive more than a couple decades, you recognize that nothing changed after last night.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changed.
Mm-mm.
You didn't move the needle. Trump didn't move the needle. She didn't move the needle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of this debate thing, is that you got to move the needle. The people that were in the middle are still in the middle. The people that she needed to persuade, that she identified with, the black folks at the bottom, she stepped right over them to the middle class. Most of us are not in the middle class.
Nope.
Most of us are in the lower half of the lower class.
Bottom, I'm lower than that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you start talking about the middle class, you're directly avoiding the people that you say you have identified with, not identifying with them live on television twice. So we're going to walk on past that one, and then we're going to get to this new immigration thing. You're talking about this $25,000. This $25,000 is $25,000. If you look into that, it's for first-generation home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So first-generation home buyers are people whose parents never owned a house. Well, most of us have been here, 300-400 years. Somewhere along the line, our parents may have owned a house and lost it. A lot of us owned houses and lost it in the last 2008 crash. A lot of our parents lost those houses, but because of that, you're disqualified. Well, guess who is qualified now? All of these immigrants that you're going to give amnesty to.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
I don't even know how they enforce that.
You're fermenting a new middle class.
Mm-hmm. I keep saying, listen, I have said time and time again that America has moved past us, and they just won't say it. They're not going to tell us, but they have said, we're not going to fix you. We're just going to move past you. And that's kind of what that is. And let me just say this from a logistics standpoint, I don't even know how they enforce that. Like, how do you look at my parents' records and my grandparents? How far back do you go? But I understand exactly what you're saying, fam. You got like 40 seconds though.
It's the old case of I'm white and I say so. We make it up as we go. That's how we enforce it. The same way we enforce this erroneous crack cocaine law that happened. How do you, the main ingredient difference is baking soda?
Mm-hmm.
Makes it 10 times more lethal, so you get 10 times more time? It's white and I say so.
I hear you, fam. I appreciate you. That's a great point to end. I appreciate you. You have a good one. That's a great call. I appreciate you. I'm running through them, fam. I want everybody to get in. Let's try to keep it to 2 minutes. 203, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 203? Hey.
Is this 203?
Yes, ma'am. 203.
Oh, yes. Hi, Yvette. It's so
Hey.
good to speak with you.
You
This is my
too.
first time calling in.
Okay.
Yes. I watched the debate, and, prior to that, I knew that Vice President Harris, that she was going to win that. Similar to the other caller, as he stated, that she's trained to be a trial attorney. So they prepare for these things. And so her ability to do that, that's her comfort zone. So she was ready for that. So when you saw her get up there, she was ready, like, this is where I live, and I know Trump, he wasn't really prepared for her. She didn't really want to answer the question as to whether or not she's black, but he treated her like she's black because he does not believe that she's smart.
Did he treat her like the help? Did he treat her like the help around the house? Did he treat her like the help around the house?
Excuse me?
I said, did he treat her like the help?
Yes. Yeah, and so, and I find it so ironic with her that, she doesn't want to speak. She wants to claim the black issues and speak to our issues. I'm just one, and I think that we have to firmly begin to say to people, don't speak on our issues if you're not going to work with us to prepare these issues. And how can we move past? How can we move past a racial identity when we are not on any equal footing? So, I'm just of the thinking that it is our time. Take us out of your mouth. Don't describe and don't identify our problems if you're not going to do anything about it. And I'll land with that. And thank you for letting me.
That was good. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much. And I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you for your call, fam. I appreciate it. And I agree with that. Listen, if you're not going to do anything specifically or for redress, stop telling me how you're black like me and you eat collard greens or you put bacon in your greens and you put them in the tub. I don't need to hear none of that. Like if you're gonna say one ocean wave lifts all dinghy boats, and that's not even true. One wave ships, a big old wave will sink a lot of stuff, and and with some stuff will be still. That's not even true. That came from like Mondale, but whatever. Yeah, don't talk about me. If you're not going, I don't need you to. We in this together. We like the same thing. I put hot sauce. Just tell us the policy, ma'am, please. 623. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh my Lord! Thank you, Miss Yvette, the queen,
Flattery will get you nowhere.
This is Radical Mike, Phoenix Street News. Look, Trump was Trump. Trump was how Trump has been through multiple elections. Trump has not changed, not one bit. Trump was who Trump always is, sticks to his script and his rhetoric. How many people were at his rally, blah, 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 the same thing. The things that were real triggers were that, first of all, Kamala started out, they asked her about the economy. She went right past that question and went into her canned statement.
Mm-hmm.
See, she had canned statements that she referred to and made throughout, which sound like she was on her game. No, she was on the old 50s, 40s, a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage. Nothing at all changed. None of the questions that was asked of them, either one of them answered, and primarily, Trump controlled the tempo and the tension of the event.
I don't think so.
Trump butted in when he wanted to butt in. He told Kamala, "Oh, wait a minute, hold on, shut up. Stop right there." Kamala, when she got the race question, the first time it was like a real serious snag where she almost slipped out of gear. It was like when you're driving a stick and you slip out of gear. Oh, shit. And finally got it in gear and deflected from that. And the thing was that the narrators never called them on not answering the damn question.
No, they didn't. They didn't do a good job of that at all.
And so the thing is, as far as I was concerned, she didn't win because she didn't, as one thought said, they had moved the needle. She was supposed to be smart enough to just have Trump through. Trump played her like a cheap fiddle. Never looked at her. He looked at her one time. And for the rest of the thing, he looked at the camera like I'm looking at the people.
I think that was a mistake, though. I think that was a mistake. I don't think it worked.
And Trump, well, no, I think it did work because Trump is disrespectful. Trump disrespected Hillary. And you think Trump not going to disrespect a so-called played black woman?
But listen, he didn't call. He never called. I'm gonna say this and then we can, and then we'll let you how to work. We can get off. He said he called Hillary crooked Hillary. He never said Hillary was not smart. He said she was very smart. He never said Hillary was dumb. He said she's somebody that we have to take seriously because she's going to be good at this debate. He said that she was crooked because of them emails or whatever. But he never disrespected Hillary to the level that he disrespected Kamala. I don't think that's true.
Well, come on, people act like they didn't think that was going to happen. Even if she was a real black woman, she would have really came hard and straightened that out. But because she is a pseudo on her birth certificate, her mother is Caucasian and her father is not. Is just.
I got you, fam. Time's up, fam. I got you. Last word.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate you. I'm just trying to, like I said, the cause is I'm trying to be fair. But I get you. I get what you're saying. I expected it. I'm just not sure it worked. 917, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 917?
Hello?
Hey, 917, what's going on?
Oh, hello?
Yep. Hello.
Hi, Yvette. I just have 2 points that I'd like to make.
Okay.
I feel as though Trump won the debate
Okay.
because I feel like he was swift on his feet and quick to respond, despite the quality of his response. And all Kamala did was give us rehearsed platitudes. And second, one thing I wish that Trump would have touched on was if Biden was deemed incompetent and had to be removed from the race, and VP Harris is on the campaign trail overtime because of her unpopularity, who the hell is running the country? I yield my time.
I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate you. Good points. Let me go to 225. 225, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Baton Rouge.
What's going on, Baton Rouge?
Hurricane.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it. How y'all doing? You is it strong winds out there? Lord, whoo, y'all some brave souls out there.
We cool right now.
Okay. We say all that hurricane. We cool right now. What's up, fam?
I think if black people vote Kamala Harris for president, they deserve everything they're going to get.
What they gonna get?
They're going to get no job because all the migrants going to have them. They're going to lose all that political power because with the 20 million immigrants, they're going to all get voting rights. And you're going to be politically obsolete after that.
Okay. I appreciate your call. Anything else, fam?
Yeah, I say, I don't care who wins because I believe in consequences. So if Trump wins, I'm cool with that. That's what I'm voting for.
All right.
But if Kamala wins, I'm cool with the consequences y'all get from that.
Okay. I got it, fam. Appreciate you calling in. I'm just going to get everybody. I'm trying to get through them, but I appreciate you calling. You saying consequences. He saying consequences matter. That's just what it is. Appreciate you calling in from Baton Rouge. Y'all be safe out there. 267. What's your name? Where you calling from? What is on your mind?
Fred from Philly, where they were sitting down for the debate.
What's up, Fred from Philly?
Yeah, I just got one quick point to make and a question to ask you.
Okay.
The point I'll make is, I think Kamala won, but not by beating Trump. I think she won in dispelling, well, at least temporarily, the common concern that she was inarticulate and unable to put together a coherent presentation of her views, etc. You know, and all the past stuff.
And let me say one thing, fam. I think this is where Trump shot himself in the foot. I think you made a great point, and I'm gonna let you finish that point. If you go out and tell everybody Kamala's stupid, right? You set a low bar for her. Right? Because you said she's stupid, she's incompetent, she's a dizzy broad, or whatever he said. You set a low bar for her. So when she comes in and performs well, she exceeds that low bar that you set, which was a strategic mistake. Go on, fam.
Yeah, I agree. So I think she won that. Now, people, I know, are giddy today saying she killed Trump and all that, but I mean, if you watch the last two elections, I don't see anything Trump said or did that was off code for him.
No.
You think it's the craziest stuff Yvette's ever said or done? He still has almost 50% of the electorate voting for him in the polls. So, I mean, I don't see him losing substantial ground there. But the question I want to ask you is, given how nuts the election has been, we've had a president withdraw due to cognitive decline. We had a candidate nearly get shot and killed. We've had a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's all been forgotten in the memory hole. No one talks about it anymore. So, how long is this debate actually going to be in the public memory? I mean, it ain't lasting until November. I'm just wondering what the shelf life of this is going to be until the next gotcha comes down the line.
I don't think it lasts long at all. But I think there may have been some people who were like, well, is she a serious person? Right? Does she have the capacity to be a serious person? Does she have the capacity? Now, listen, a lot of her arguments were still just kind of like you weren't given any policy. But do you have the ability to stand up in the face of somebody, this white man who has said negative things about you, and look him in his face and laugh at him? Like, I think that was a moment where people were trying to figure out, not only can she be serious, but can she show any kind of courage? We really haven't seen that out of her. So I don't think it lasts long. It may dispel something, though, in a small amount of voters. And then there are some people who just like the performance, right? There are some people who the blackity black who just like, that's going to give them a, woo-wee, she did it, or woo-wee, she did something, she told him. Some of us just like to see somebody who may or may not be black or whatever she is. I'm like Trump, I don't know what you is, but whatever you say you is, if she's black, then that's whatever. Global black, whatever. Some people just like to see that kind of person best somebody else. So it may give, if anything, I feel like, for the most part, it's just going to maybe give her base some energy. I would be curious, though, to see what next week's polling looks like. Does she get a bump out of this? That's what I would like to see. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and as far as her base goes, what I think is going to be interesting about her versus Barack Obama is, I think, whether she wins or loses and whatever she does, if she does win in her administration, I think the view of the black elite in this country, by the black community, is going to be very interesting how it falls out. Because if she crashes and burns, she might take a lot of them down with her. Unlike Barack Obama did. I'm just wondering, because they're all everyone's behind her like that. I mean, in a way, Barack was there behind Barack too, but not the Divine Nine and everything like that. You see some pretty big people are opening around her. Yeah. And she's got some people coming behind her too, like the three ladies running for Senate in Delaware, Maryland, and California. So, if this goes bad, it's going to be a big time real quick in black policy and economics.
Absolutely. I agree with you, fam. And they deserve to be taken down with it, because they're the ones who said, basically, we don't need no policy. And she is whatever she says she is. And if she does take them down, they deserve it. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate you. Yeah. They deserve everything they get. I'm going now to 856. 856, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Yvette. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. What's going on, fam?
Oh, hello. This is Jasmine in Jersey. It's been a while. Glad
hey,
I made it through. I don't have much. Except I watched last night's debate, and I found it so hilarious that Kamala at one point said, we should be talking about policy. Why don't you ask us about policy? But would never speak on her actual policy and what her actual plans were, because we've heard all of this before. She told us, what she posted on the website. She's anti-Project 2025, and it's like, okay, but what's your actual plan? What are you actually doing or working on to ensure that this doesn't happen and it doesn't become Project 2029? And honestly, I also feel like they should press her more on fracking, because what do you mean your morals haven't changed?
She said, but that was you know what though? That was one of the, fam, you just said, that was one of the best questions though. When she said, that was one of the best questions to Kamala. They say, you say your values haven't changed, but your policies sure have. That was one of the best questions. And she didn't have no answer for fracking. That fracking answer was hot trash.
Every single time, even with the CNN interview that she did with Walls and Dana, they just, honestly, I personally think we give Trump too much attention. I understand he was a former president. I'm in disbelief that it even happened. But that was her time to really elaborate on why she's better, what she has to offer. And it's like, if you're also, it's a shame that they brought up the pet thing, because there was just a school shooting where children and teachers died. And you speak on how you own guns, you and your
I didn't know that either. She said we both own guns. I said, well, that's Kamala. You keep that thing on you. All right.
Like, oh my goodness. Wow. But also, we just had another tragedy, and people are up in arms about that in Israel. And both of her answers on those questions were terrible. And before I take up too much more time, I watched the ABC live version of the debate. So they went and were broadcasting from the spin room. Trump showed up in the spin room, and they were talking about how unprecedented it was for a candidate to show up in the spin room after a debate, and they felt like that signaled that he didn't feel like he did well. And Congress challenged him to a second debate immediately. So that is on the table.
Well, and let me just say, I do feel.
Says, I don't know if I'll do one. I could do one. A typical Trump answer, because that's who he is.
But let me just say this. I do feel.
The second debate, but.
Yeah.
This is a spectacle. They want money. They love giving him free press. They let him do all the talking he wanted to do. They made sure to cut her off. He sounded
No, they cut him off too. They cut him off too. They muted his mic too. No, I think Kamala got to go. Kamala got to go to Fox. They did ABC. She got to go to Fox. No,
exactly. Go light them up over there too. Like, if you're go light them up everywhere. Like, you are clearly. I don't take Trump seriously. I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting against Trump. But let me know what you're going to do. I'm like, go and show them that, hey, I've got all this experience. This is what I know. This is what I have for you. This is what I'm going to do. I'm confident in it. I'm stepping in it. Come out for me. As of right now, I don't see it. Because what do you mean you change your position on fracking? Isn't that poison to what?
I appreciate you. Absolutely, fam. I appreciate you. I'm gonna try to get out of here though, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your call.
Right,
that appreciate you, fam. Good call. That fracking stuff. We just gonna have to use the energy we got. What, Kamala? What you talking about? Like, this don't make no sense. Don't say me your values have changed. Like, that's child, whatever. 225. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes. Good evening. This is Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge again. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, 225. But I just want to make a few little quick statements.
Okay.
First, we don't have a dog in this race as ADOS.
Uh-huh.
We can look at our politicians, but we have to keep our eyes on our future and the future of our children. And there's nothing that's being said that's going to help us. Those who are jumping the ship from trying to support Kamala, white folks and foreigners feel that they're going to get something from her. I don't see anything she's promising us as a people. And if we don't become foot soldiers and get out in the streets and really truly get our people to understand it's not a today's problem. This is a future problem. Whatever we decide to do today. And we've been late coming into the race. If it wasn't for ADOS, I don't think any of us would even be in the race. So I thank you and I thank Tone for just opening the eyes of some of us. But those eyes are open, we got work to do.
Oh, we got so much work to do,
and
fam.
that's to just wake up our people.
I appreciate you. And thank you so much for calling in and saying that. Because if people talk about what's the real work to be done, have you found somebody to show them what's really wrong and how we have to have a movement to do something about it? Have you found somebody like that? like have you done that? Y'all and Louisiana people, I want to see y'all at the conference. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much for calling in.
I have my ticket. I'm ready.
Well, I'm gonna look forward to my hug now.
This storm turned out to be just like that, just like last night. A big to do about nothing. So we all doing fine. Just a little wind. That's what we have today.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, ma'am. I appreciate. She said just a little wind. Woo, it was a lot of wind blowing last night from both sides. See how you can see things clearly when you don't really be like, I'm for this. No, I ain't finna do all that. 850, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, good evening. This is Ed from Freeport. How you doing, Carnell?
Pretty good, Ed. What's up with you?
Nothing. Just enjoying this political discussion with all these fine people. I'm hoping that you're enjoying the. I'm glad, number one, that you started off with just letting us call in, because a lot of times, I guess people don't really have their own opinions and lean off what you've always said, but coming out the gate, everybody seems to be all on the same accord. It seems like the training that you and Tone have, inspired in us is, it is definitely spreading like peanut butter across this nation. And I'm smiling ear to ear from it. And I hope you can take flowers for that.
Well, no, I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate this whole political culture. Like this, if I had my druthers, it'll be 10,000 people in the chat right now talking politics. I don't see why I logged on and I saw somebody else who shall not be named had like $84,000 people in the chat just talking sports. And it's just kind of like, can we talk about something that impacts your life? I'm not saying you can't go do sports and enjoy that, but can we show up and have this conversation about something that actually impacts our quality of life? So I'm just happy that we have a lot of people in here who are talking about politics and trying to figure out where we got to land. So that makes me happy.
And I echo that. I'll be real quick. I'm gonna probably take it a different angle. I'm going to say Kamala did an excellent job. Specifically, every time when Trump, was asked a question and he fumbled it or he answered it like you said. They asked him what about what he said about her, her race or, and he was like, I don't care. Like he answered that in like 20 seconds. She picked that ball up and she took every second that was afforded to her to give a well-polished answer, and it was like she, on every turn, when there was an opportunity for her to, use up air, make a statement to the people, she did that. I congratulate her on that. That was big ups on her. And I was really surprised, and it was more polished than I've ever seen her ever in anything I've ever seen her in. So I do commend her for whoever prepped her for that. Bravo, you guys got her up.
And she hit all the marks. She even hit the mark about listen, you have these kinds of assaults. You've been charged with this. She hit everything that she came in that it hit. She hit it.
Everything.
Yep.
Everything. She brought up everything from 30 years ago to, a news ad about the Central Park 5 and to his parade rallies. And he actually took seconds to relitigate the case on, it took him so far out of his game.
Undisciplined.
It was real. I didn't hear you, sorry.
No, I just said it was just very undisciplined. He was just very undisciplined.
Yes, and I wanted to touch on that too, his discipline. Also, I don't think people remember, he didn't have any, his only debate was Biden. And
Hillary.
He didn't even have chance, to polish up his political, his campaigning and his debate chops this year. And I think everybody lost something in that. Lastly, I want to talk about just the moderators. The moderators, they at times tag teamed on the browbeating on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to itemize all of his presidential affairs for the year. They, what about Afghanistan? And what about this? What about, this comment about, you losing by a whisker and then Trump had to recorrect, they seem to be laser focused and were able to delineate all of his issues as president, and even as a former president, his issues, in the courtroom. When it came to her, they seemed to lump all of her problems waffled on fracking. You've had these other things about other issues, but they lumped it all together, and they allowed Kamala to just pick and choose what she wanted to answer or not. And it just seemed very.
Yeah, and they were telling him. They were telling him you're. They were telling. Yeah, they were telling him you're lying. They were telling him you're lying. Like the sarcasm thing was just the biggest bias moment to me from ABC News, because he said I was being. I had a sarcastic moment. They said this didn't sound like sarcasm. You're not. You're in here to fact check. You're not in here to check tone. You're not in here to check whether or not something sounded or felt like sarcasm. You're in here to say he said it. Right? We're not in here. We're not in here for you to do that. But I do think, and so fact checking is great, but you got to do it all the way around, and you got to be fair with it. Fact checking somebody's tone, whether or not it was sarcastic or not, was crazy.
Yeah. And the last thing, like, I don't think they had time to, look into her platform. Like, she did they delivered it the day before the debate. And I think that was gamesmanship on the Democrats' part as well. And it just, they definitely need to have this on Fox. But if I was the Democrats, I would win and walk away, take the ball, and enjoy it.
And you know what? Let me just say that too.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carnell.
I appreciate you, fam. Thank you too. And let me just say, I don't think any party should be allowed to do that. Like, you all debated on what looks to me like a liberal network, which was ABC. Then we should go to Fox Network, which is an obviously conservative Republican network. I think people should be mandated to do 2 debates. I don't like this thing where I won, let me walk away. No, we're gonna have at least 2. Right? I really think people should have 3. But we're gonna have at least 2. Come on now. There was something else I was going to say. There was something else that brought up during the debate. Oh, that January 6th stuff was crazy. Let me see if I have that. While I bring up the next call. This is what the woman said they were stealing the chickens or whatever. You can't say he's lying it's a point of fact. You can't say that like what the and he can't say that. Well, I didn't do the security for January 6th. Yeah, but you told him to come down there. Like you all were part of that stop the steal stuff. So all of this stuff is kind of crazy. But let me I'm going to 954. 954. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, 954?
Hey, what's going on, Yvette?
Not too much.
Hey,
I said not too much.
Okay, my name is Keith. I'm calling from Florida.
Okay, what's going on, Keith?
To me, man, I feel like Trump held his own. To me, I think that he was going 3 versus 1. If you ask me, I really didn't hear any policy from her that convinced me that she had her own policy. Like he said,
she got
just running on Biden's policy. Well, she really didn't bring anything new to the table.
Well, she brought the opportunity economy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, fam. I'm sorry. I'm being silly. I just said she brought the opportunity.
She really didn't bring anything to the table, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that I did question that how did this lady have 0 votes when she ran for president the first time for the Democratic nominee? Now all of a sudden they pushing her on us. I think that black folks, you got to be mindful of that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't look at it like, okay, I think that a lot of people in the community, they want to make history, but they don't want to do what's best for black people as a people. I don't care about making history. We don't make history a whole bunch of times. What did we get in return?
Mm-hmm.
It got to be tangible. And then as far as, I think that we got to take small victories. We don't win no matter what, Trump or Kamala being president. But one thing that Trump did say that he's going to do that's going to benefit ADOS people is mass deportation. Because you got to understand that these illegals that's coming in, that's going to affect our children. They're going to directly go after our children's future in this country, let alone the black men that work that live here right now. That's ADOS right now.
Okay.
So we got to take those small victories.
Well,
and we got to get in the game.
I appreciate you for calling in, fam. The first caller said that he was a single issue voter, and his single issue was immigration. So some people have the single issue as reparations. So I think you can decide. One thing that we have never decided, and when you have women who have their single issue might be abortion. You have people who have their single issue is they're a gun voter, right? So I do think if you decide like what that's part of, and that's the wonderful thing about this political conversation we're having right now is we're deciding where we are, right? How, let me prioritize my issues. So I think you made a great point, fam. I appreciate you calling in. You have a good one, all right?
Hey, all right, you too.
All right now. Let me see. 409, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes, my name is Kobe. I'm calling from Beaumont, Texas.
What's going on, Texas?
Hello. I'm doing all right. Okay, I was watching the debate last night.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching you and Tom since probably like 2014, 2015. I remember when you was the Iron. I remember it when y'all first started off.
Okay.
And I'm a teacher. Now, I teach social studies. I've been watching what's been taking place, and you're the first person I ever just been like, I will follow. Meaning, I will listen to what you say, and I can take what you say, and I can see it and apply it when it comes to us.
Okay.
Now, I was watching the debate last night, and, I was kind of making my grandmother a little mad because she felt like I was being critical of Kamala. And I'm not going to vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
No way in hell I'm going to vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm watching the debate to see what Kamala is going to do. Because I feel like everything they're doing is signaling to let conservatives know it's okay to vote for Kamala. Because it's like she avoids the question about being black, and then the change announced, okay, we're going to vote for her, right? And then she goes to the debates, and she won't even take the alley-oop questions. Like, after the January 6th, they asked her the question, about Trump said that if he goes in again, he will remove certain people or go after certain people for the election and all this other stuff, their positions, right? And they asked her, do you believe this to be true? Any person who is in it seemed like you would just say yes and then say what you're going to say. She wouldn't even say yes. She just went on to say, well, 81, however many people kicked him out of his job or whatever. And it's like, that bothers me because it seems kind of scary because it's like, why won't she take the easy questions?
Yeah, that is a question.
It's like, that's too easy of a question. You could say everything you said after it just by saying yes first.
Yeah, why do you weave at the beginning? Like if hey, this is a gimme. Yes, I will. You know what I mean? Yes or no, I won't or whatever.
It's like, everybody saying she went at Trump, but it's like when it came to certain things, it just seemed like when it came to preparation, Trump, we know he's irrational. We know he gets irritable when somebody says certain things toward him, and especially being who she is. But to me, his team tried to use that for him. So, for example, rather than him just cutting her off while she's talking, he always waited till right at the end of the question, and when the moderator was about to speak again, to cut her off. And then they would just let him finish talking. So he was getting the last word, for one. Second, what I didn't like about Kamala was, it kind of goes back to what you say. It's like, whenever they said something about his presidency, he kind of actually could talk about, well, during my presidency, this wasn't taking place. Now it's taking place during yours. But every time she tried to make it a point, it was kind of like she always went back to her childhood. She always said, something she knew, like, I know someone who.
I think she tried. I think that was kind of a dodge sometimes, right? Like she would go to what's about you, the people, as opposed to being like, no, let's talk about tariffs, right? Let's talk about the point of tariffs and how you feel about tariffs versus Trump, right? And it's just kind of like it would never, if they could not have that conversation. And I don't feel like Kamala is a policy wonk, not nearly as much of a policy wonk as I would want for somebody at this level of government. That's kind of what it showed to me.
Yeah, it's just like, it just seems like we're being given someone and they want everyone to kind of
just accept it. You know, like if they say, we never really got to vote for it. And it's like now it's kind of like they phasing it out to where, you know, they kind of see black people on the edge and they're signaling to others, okay, it's okay to come vote for her.
Well, yeah, when you have like Cheney and those people who, like people, somebody in the chat asked, what did Trump ever do for black people? My question too would be, what did the Bush administration do for us? I know they had more SBA loans than Obama, but that's not saying much. So if I'm not, like if I'm not happy about,
like when you can make those points.
No, I'm just saying, if I'm not happy about Trump, then I can't be happy about Dick Cheney. And so I don't know why her or any of these other Democrats are running around touting Dick Cheney. Y'all want to lock that whole administration up for war criminals. So I don't even understand what that is about. But I'll let you finish, fam.
Yeah. I think it's just to give conservatives to understand, like, you know, it's going to be okay with her.
Yeah. Yep. I appreciate you calling in, fam. I may try to get to, let me see, one last caller, but I appreciate you, fam. Yeah, I get it. It's wild, but we're living in a wild time, and ain't nothing we can do about that. But create our own movement and our own pressure. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. I'm going to my last call, 502. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, my name is Ariel. I'm calling from Louisville, Kentucky.
Hey, what's going on, Louisville?
I saw you many years ago. I saw you many years ago at Simmons College.
Okay, how you doing?
Well, I guess it was about 2016. Yeah, around that time.
All right.
I think that I'm just ready for the VP debates, because
really
that debate the other day was just mudslinging. That's all it was.
Well, let me just say, both. No, I'm just saying both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump threw J.D. Vance under the bus. Like they asked him about something, said J.D. Vance said he would do. Trump said, I ain't never talked to J.D. Vance. Then Kamala came and threw him under the bus and kicked him. And one of the biggest losers last night was J.D. Vance. But go ahead, fam. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine, because to me, I'm surprised that he even found a vice president, because how he treated Pence.
Yeah.
What makes J.D. Vance think that he has loyalty to him? Why do you think that Trump has loyalty to him? To be honest, I'm kind of up in the air about the presidency, but because of this, it makes me want to just focus more on local government.
And ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, like focusing. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'm just trying to see how they try to. I don't have no kids. Don't plan on having them. But I just want to know what they're gonna do for our age. 33.
They're not telling you nothing about that. They don't care about that. You know who comes out to vote? You know who has big lobbyists? The AARP. So they're telling you what they're gonna do for old people. Right? They're telling you Social Security and Medicare. That's why Social Security and Medicare get mentioned all the time, because these old people vote. Like people always say, don't vote. No. I don't care. Even if you vote, and even if you show up for a third party, right? We got a lot of third parties this time. Right. I feel like you show up for somebody because the older people vote, and that's why they sitting at home. Gertrude, what you like? And they know that they're going to come out and vote. These people, these young people, they're telling young people they don't care. They're telling you that you do not matter. Listen, if you are young watching this, you 25, 30, ain't nobody worried about you. Ain't nobody talking about your student loans or what you might have going on. Like Biden tried to do that after he got forced to do it or whatever, and it's backfiring. But then you'll have old people tell you that that's your debt. Right? They'll tell you that's your debt. Well, wait a minute. You get all this on your homes. You get all this interest-free stuff. It was something on the ballot a few years ago around here talking about, people over 65 shouldn't pay property tax. Why? Like they have all of these things set up for them, and nobody sets up anything for you. It's structured for old people. If there's one thing young people should do, is change the structure. maybe don't change it before I get old. I'm just playing. but like change the structure where something is, politicians are designed to do something for you. Like it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for us everybody to be promised that if you go to school, listen, as ADOS, we were promised if you go to college, it's gonna make you white. Let's just talk about it. It wasn't even promised like you're gonna get a good job. No. This thing is gonna wash you real good and make you white. That didn't happen. And they tell us now, well, none of that matters. You gotta figure it out. And we might be able to do some of it with some little student loan and stuff Biden doing. Then the Supreme Court telling you no, we can't. Come on, child. What they're telling you is that you don't matter. The old people matter, and you have to vote in some form or fashion. Even if you don't vote for the two main candidates, you got to show up.
And that's what I'm trying to do. The best thing I did was vote for Andy. And I tried to vote for. I voted for Charles twice.
Did they deal with student loans last night and talk about what they're gonna do with that all that money and all that loans that's on everybody's back? Did Kamala Harris I didn't see that anywhere on her agenda. Did she say that I may be missing it, but did she say at some point I'm going to find a way to get this debt off your back because it was a contract? The government told us we were going to have this kind of money and these kinds of jobs. Now people are driving Uber that went to college. That was a contract. Somebody has to void the contract. Where is that at?
And then on top of that, you keep talking about this $25,000 for first-time home buyers. $25,000. I live with $500,000 homes.
Child, just give me the cash.
And when we talked about the interest rates, $25,000 can't do shit for me.
No, and thank you, fam. I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you because I understand exactly what you're saying. Thank you so much for calling in. And let me just say, and that's my last call for the night, fam. I know it's people in the queue. I appreciate y'all. But let me just say, if they didn't mention, nobody mentioned student loans last night. That means you don't matter. If you don't come up, nobody mentioned ADOS, nobody mentioned Black Agenda, nobody mentioned a lot of stuff last night. That's like these are not things that matter. America violated a contract it had with people who went to college, especially people who had to take out loans. I want to know how much loans Kamala had when she went to Howard University. Did her mama pay cash? Her daddy paid cash? We had to take out loans because we don't have any other way to pay for stuff. What's the average of white person who takes out loans? Like $10,000. It's loans for books or something. We have to pay the whole thing. We took out that stuff and it became a burden. And now they have violated a social contract. Remember, I went over social contracts on one of these shows about a social contract. You have violated the social contract. You don't get to make any demands of me until you fix this violation. I was supposed to come out with a really good paying job. That's supposed to mean what that degree meant. And now Biden running around, before he decided he was just gonna be at the beach, he running around talking about now we're gonna have jobs where you don't need a degree. Well, you should have told us to get one then. What we talking about? What's going on? But anyway, fam, thank you for everybody who tuned in. I know I'm gonna try to get out of here now because we almost at midnight. But I appreciated everybody and I appreciate the conversation. We did a good thing. I wasn't impressed by nothing that happened, but I did think Kamala won. I don't think she won by a whole lot, but I think she won the debate. I'm a fair person. That was just my takeaway. I don't think it changes my mind about what I'm doing on election day. But sometimes you just got to be fair because whether you like a person or not, you need to understand and you got to be able to see all the points. So, fam, anyway, keep it easy breezy. Y'all get some rest. Those of you who are on Patreon, I will see you tomorrow. If you haven't gotten your ticket to the summit, please do that. The reparations summit, please take care of that. Do that. Make sure you get that. Get your ticket, get your flight. We're gonna have a ball. We're gonna have a ball. We're gonna be family. That's what we always do. We're gonna have a ball in New Orleans. That's how we do it. So if you have not gotten your ticket, if you have not gotten all your stuff, please make sure. I'm trying to type something in. It ain't, I tell you, boy, it's always something. Please make sure you take care of that. All right? That's all. Anyway, fam, I will see y'all next time. Please keep it easy breezy. If you had a libation, finish it. Some of y'all sound like y'all might have been smoking on something. Put that out. Don't set the house on fire. And I'll see y'all next time, fam. All right? Bye.